Welcome to the JEMS Report, brought to you by Clarion Events, Fire and Rescue Group, and the Journal of Emergency Medical Services. My name is Ted Lee, and I am the Editor-in-Chief of JEMS Magazine. Along with Jeff Frankel, our Managing Editor, we will be bringing you subject matter experts and leaders in the industry to talk all things pre-hospital medicine. And today we have a very special guest from GMR, Ms. Natalie Jobst, to talk about the veterans programs. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me today.
So for those in the audience that aren't aware of who GMR is and kind of maybe who you are and some of your background, why don't you start off with a little introduction?
Thank you. I'll start with an introduction of myself. I am Natalie Jobst. And you can tell from the accent that I am not originally from the United States. I was born and raised in Scotland. There's a story behind that, I promise. I am a military spouse. My husband is an active duty Marine. He is hitting 20 years in the Marine Corps, I believe this November, so we're in this month. And I have always worked in the military space. I am extremely passionate about the military recruitment and retention, and we'll talk about that during this podcast, how very important it is to not just recruit veterans, but to retain them in the EMS industry. I started my career in Scotland as a careers advisor and have worked in the career space for the majority of that time. When I first moved to the United States, like most military families, military spouses in particular, I had to get my home. I had to find where I belonged. And the military community embraced me as an immigrant spouse and someone with a professional career. And they really just took me under their wing and took really good care of me. And I landed in the transition assistance program. And I worked as a transition assistance professional for approximately 5 years. And I've really just moved around in that field since I moved to the United States and built this passion for our service members across all branches of service through my work with the Transition Assistance Program. And my career really just expanded from there. And I've been very fortunate to land here at Global Medical Response because I truly believe, and this is something that military community looks for, they look for organizations that are passionate about veterans and military families. And I find that here at GMR. Global Medical Response has approximately 37,000 employees, and it is the leading industry for air and ground emergency medical services. As a veteran and military community, it is important to me to share that there is about a 15% of our employees are actually veterans. I don't know if you all do the math, but the national average is 6%. So, yeah. So GMR is a leading industry provider for EMS, and 15% of our population are veterans. So we really are leading when it comes to veterans. And they recognized by bringing me on board to GMR that we need a designated military program within GMR for the recruitment and retention of veterans. So they brought me on board with my expertise to really expand the program and show our dedication and commitment to this group of individuals.
So how long have you been in your role? So how long has GMR been doing this program?
Yeah. So they've been doing the military recruitment and outreach really from the get-go. But this designated program as military program manager, I've been in this position for a year and change. Roughly a year and change. One of our new programs that we actually have here at GMR is our Skill Bridge program, our Department of Defense Skill Bridge program. And we offer that across all of our business units within GMR. And that's really been a key initiative within GMR because we are really, really good at the veteran piece. We have a lot of candidates who come in that are transitioning out of the military and or veterans. And now we're working really, really hard on the transitioning military piece.
So you mentioned the Skill Bridge program. Could you kind of dive into that a little bit more? What's the who, what, where, when, why, and how of this program?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So the DoD Skill Bridge program is, the guess is in the name, Department of Defense. And so the Department of Defense Skill Bridge program is a program that's run by the government that allows transitioning service members who are within 180 days of their active duty separation to join a civilian organization in either an apprenticeship, an OJT type environment for up to those 180 days. Global Medical Response offers this Department of Defense Skill Bridge program for 90 days. We are approved to offer this for 180, but our program is 90 days. And it's OJT, and we offer it in EMT, paramedics, pilots, nurses, supply chain logistics. It's really just growing. I want to speak to how many people that we actually have in pipeline at this present moment in time. The Global Medical Response Skill Bridge program has approximately 200 plus individuals that are sitting in our pipeline that are ready to start, because the Skill Bridge program, we actually pipeline up to a year out. That's very normal for active duty service members to apply for Skill Bridge positions a year out of their EAS, end of active service date. And we do have a pipeline of over 200 people that are ready to start in the new year. We've hired 16 through this program so far, and we have 25 that will be finishing the program by year's end.
That's great. And, what a great opportunity, as somebody decides to transition out. A lot of angst and kind of unknown if you're not sure where you're going to go or what you're going to do. So
definitely.
So tell us a little.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, so tell us a little bit more. They have to sign up for the program, and what does it mean to be part of GMR's Skill Bridge program? I mean, how does this work for them?
Yes, so they're very much integrated within the organization. What it means for these individuals is the OJT element. They are considered an employee of GMR. They go through all of our regular onboarding process. They do all of our training. We require them to meet our minimums at time of start. So we treat them just like we would any other new hire. They do the 90-day program. They do all of our standard onboarding. They have a mentor within the company, whether that's me as a point of contact or whether that's one of their supervisors. They join that, they're mentored throughout the program. At the end of the Skill Bridge program, they then get counselling, career counselling from myself or their supervisor to really prepare them for the next step, which is, whilst we can't guarantee it, that's part of the stipulation, that the idea is that we do move them to direct hire at the end of the program. We also have within GMR our employee resource group. GMR employee resource group merge military, and that's part of our mentorship. We really want anyone, not just our Skill Bridge individuals, but anyone within GMR to have that home if they're from a military community or a military supporter. So we actively encourage them to get involved with our military employee resource group whilst they join GMR.
Is your program based somewhere specific, or is it kind of spread out throughout the organization? Because I would think that it would be, and this is me not knowing, I would think it would be GMR resources that are close to military bases, but is that the case or no?
It's interesting but we are actually national. So we offer our Skill Bridge program on every one of our bases nationwide. We do active outreach in all of our bases. So every base, every branch, we do active outreach through the Transition Assistance Program, for example, for individuals who are familiar with that program. We do go on base, we do actively one-on-one. I call it meeting them where they are. I think that's very important for the veteran community, that we go and we talk to the military community long before they ever leave active duty service. We want to be nurturing that relationship with military individuals. So we do go to those bases, but it is not base specific. Our Skill Bridge program is base specific in some regions, but really I'm confident to say that we do offer this program nationally.
Yeah, that's great. So when you touched a little bit on the specific job. So you mentioned EMS, EMTs, paramedics, pilots, nurses,
Yes, sir.
and supply chain. So, could you dig into the groups? What are the requirements? Do they have to be paramedics, or could they be an EMT? Do they have to have a certain background for the nursing aspect? And then, I mean, we all kind of know how unique pilots are just in general, but anybody coming out of the military has quite a bit of flying experience if they're a pilot in the military. So
That's very true. I'll speak to each one of them. I know. So, for example, on the EMT side, we do require that they meet the minimum of that they are licensed, so they have their NREMT. The other thing that we require is state licensure. However, we are very familiar with that military move states, and they do have to get relicensed in the state that they may choose to do their skill bridge. And we allow the time for them to do that. We cannot start them without that particular license, but we make sure that we're providing all of that information up front and that we're given what we call conditional letters of intent in advance of our start date, so they have time to get their license in that state. So on the EMT side, yes, they have to meet our minimums, but we do have wiggle room with state licensure in particular, because we are very aware of the state licensure from one to the other. With regards to paramedics, we recommend, if you do not hold the paramedic license, that you go in through the EMT route. That actually did just happen here at GMR, which I'm really pleased to share with you. Our first SkillBridge graduate started the program as an EMT and was not sure. He did have paramedic background, but he was hired on as a paramedic because he was able to get his licenses and train in the SkillBridge program, entered as an EMT, and then was hired as a paramedic. Critical care experience is very important for us for our flight nurse positions, minimum of 3 years. Critical care experience is what we ask for our flight nurse positions. On our pilot side, we have flight minimums. And, that won't come as any surprise. Things like FAA, right? We have flight minimum requirements for our pilot positions. We do require that our pilots have their FAA medical at time of start. But the beauty of the SkillBridge program is we can do all this and help these individuals in advance of them actually starting the SkillBridge program, because we're pipelining them so far out that it gives us the opportunity to walk them through and white glove the process as best we can.
Right. And then you mentioned supply chain too. So that's, it became a buzzword for a lot of people during the COVID time, where we didn't really understand what supply chain was. So what kind of people come into that? What kind of jobs from the military or MOSs would define somebody coming into supply chain for an EMS organization?
Yes, so interestingly enough, we actually have 2 SkillBridge requisitions for supply chain logistics. So we have a lot of logistics and supply experts within the military. We have one for logistics management. So these are individuals who lead, perhaps they're managing warehouses. They're in charge of operations, cargo operations within the military. They are very well suited for our management logistics type positions. There are MOSs within the military that is literally supply chain logistics MOS. So we do take that into consideration. We're very open. There's no pigeonhole. We don't pigeonhole a particular MOS. We do have a list that we look at, but we're really just looking for supply chain logistics MOSs. We're looking for warehouse. We're looking for cargo type roles within the military for them. But we do have buyer and procurement as one, and then we have supply management is the other. We have 2 requisitions for them based on experience.
Great. So you mentioned this was 90 days. It could be as much as 180 days. So they're still in the military, but they're at your academies or your training centers doing this program. That's correct? That
is correct. So we consider, I shouldn't say we, the Department of Defense will consider the SkillBridge their new base.
Okay.
So So they are now they're active duty military that are now based at their Skillbridge location. So during the Skillbridge program, they are not compensated by the provider, which would be GMR. They get their benefits and their compensation all still through the military. I am not a big fan of using the term "try before you buy." That makes my hair stand up. But I'm not a fan of using that term. But from an organization standpoint, right, we are not paying a wage to the individuals that come through the Skillbridge program. They are still employed by the military, and their new duty station is wherever the organization is. In this case, it would be GMR.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting, and that's quite a unique program. Wasn't around when I was getting out. That's for sure. So does GMR have any other veteran-led programs or programs that are designed to impact the retention of veterans?
We do. Thank you for the opportunity to share them with you. So I did touch on very briefly, it's not a recruitment program, but it's a very, very important program, and that is our employee resource group. A lot of organizations, and I speak as a military spouse, a lot of organizations will say that they're military friendly because they are very keen to get that badge at the bottom of their website that says we're military friendly. And that's not to speak disparagingly of other organizations, but you really have to walk the walk if you want to claim to be military friendly. So our employee resource group is very much involved with ensuring anyone in GMR can join. It doesn't have to be military or veterans, but it shows our veterans that we walk the walk. That's one thing that we do for our veterans in the organization. We want to embrace them in the culture and make sure that we keep them. In terms of our programs outside of Skillbridge, we have a few I would like to speak about. One of the ones that I'm sure if you're a veteran or service member, you've heard this being thrown out is Hiring Our Heroes. Hiring Our Heroes is let's call it a third-party provider for Skillbridge. Hiring Our Heroes offers an abundance of opportunities for service members. Global Medical Response is actually a corporate partner for Hiring Our Heroes. What that means is that we can offer corporate fellowships, military spouse fellowships, and skills-based fellowships. We are able to do that three-tiered. What that means is transitioning service members who are looking for corporate roles, they get sent to us by Hiring Our Heroes in a resume release every quarter. We are able to go through that resume and we're able to offer corporate military candidates with opportunities through Hiring Our Heroes. We can do that for military spouses as well. We attend Hiring Our Heroes hiring events very regularly. Hiring Our Heroes, I believe, hit approximately 4,500 hiring events just last year, and GMR attended a good handful of them. And very successful. The average footprint for those hiring events is roughly 200 to 400 individuals that attend those events. So we're able to meet them where they are, as I mentioned earlier, actually engage with these veterans and talk to them one-on-one. The other partnership that we have is with IVMF, that is the Institute of Veterans and Military Families. They offer programs like PMP certification that's entirely free to military and veterans. One time only, but it's entirely free. And they allow employers to come and give their pitches to these military candidates and answer any questions that they may have. I attend those employer panels on a regular basis, and it gives me the opportunity to engage and sell GMR to these military candidates. We have military spouse efforts as well, because I believe strongly that in the military family, not just necessarily the service member, without sounding cliche, but we all serve. And I think it's very important that we have a program for our military spouses as well. And we do partner with a program called Military Spouse Employment Partnership. And that allows us to promote our jobs to military spouses, because goodness knows it's hard out there for military spouses to secure employment. So those are just some of the partnerships that we have, and they're growing, which I'm pleased to say. We just keep growing our programs, and we just really want to be passionate about this and bring as many people from the military community to GMR as we can.
Well, that's great. Interesting programs. I could see the benefit both for the companies that hire veterans as well as the veterans as well. The fact that you can actually start these programs before you even get out is just kind of amazing to me now. Having to try to get ready for that transition to civilian life is always difficult. When you've been in, and the longer you're in, seems like the more difficult it is to transition out. So, anything else along the lines of, since this podcast will air during the week of Veterans Day, and this is kind of a near and dear to heart type of broadcast for us, and we're really happy to be bringing this message out. Is there anything else we didn't touch on yet?
I think what really outside of GMR, and I do know that we want to talk about GMR and we want to bring people to GMR, but if you allow me, I would like the opportunity to share from a personal perspective to the military individuals that you're sharing this podcast with for Veterans Day. I'm married to a veteran, and a lot of veterans in my family, and really just want to share that thank you, truly thank you. It's not easy to do what we do, and by we I mean the military community. You hold the freedoms of a country that I hold dear. Might not have been born here, but it's certainly a country that I hold near and dear to my heart. And really, on behalf of myself as a military spouse, and I'm sure of a grateful GMR, thank you for everything that you do, your families as well. Anything that we can do here as an organization for GMR, I am the point of contact. I am the military program manager here at GMR. Anything I can do to support you in your transition from the military, then please do so. Reach out to me. I'm always open to the conversation. I'm active on LinkedIn, and I almost always connect with anyone who requests to connect with me on LinkedIn. And just reach out, and thank you for everything that you and your family do for our country, and take care of yourself, most importantly.
Well, that's great. What a great message. And thank you for your service to the community and everything that you're working on. And again, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to join us. So again, thank you very much. And we'll look forward to hearing more things from you and GMR with the veterans programs.
Thank you. My pleasure.